Fubara dismisses impeachment threat, calls it political sabotage. Gunmen kill policeman, kidnap Chinese expert in Oyo. Nigeria-Netherlands boost trade, investment ties. United States offers to mediate Nile Dam dispute. Egypt and Sudan welcome the move. Hello, welcome to the news update on Trust TV. My name is Hawa Gambo. Thank you for joining us. Rivers State Governor Similayi Fubara has dismissed the impeachment notice issued against him by the Rivers State House of Assembly, describing it as a love letter. The House of Assembly had recently issued the notice against the governor and his deputy, Professor Ngozi Odu, over allegations of gross misconduct by the Fubara-led administration. Despite an interim injunction by the Rivers State High Court halting the impeachment process, the Assembly on Friday claimed that the state chief judge had received and acknowledged the impeachment notice. Addressing supporters at the grand finale of the week-long 2026 NPA Port Harcourt International Polo Tournament, Governor Fubara played down the development, saying he was merely handed a love letter. He assured residents that the political situation would not distract his administration from delivering good governance, stressing that his focus remains on supporting initiatives and individuals committed to the progress of Rivers State. The Rivers State chapter of the All Progressive Congress, APC, has urged the Chief Judge of the state, Justice Simeon Amadi, to comply with an interim court injunction restraining him from receiving or acting on any resolution from the Rivers State House of Assembly related to impeachment proceedings. The party's call was contained in a statement issued on Saturday in Port Harcourt by the APC Publicity Secretary in the state, Darlington Nwaoju, and made available to journalists. Recall that the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Martin Amahuele, had during Friday's plenary directed Justice Amadi to constitute a 7-man panel to investigate allegations of gross misconduct against Governor Similayi Fubara and his deputy, Chief Ngozi Odu. The directive followed a resolution by lawmakers to proceed with impeachment proceedings, accusing the governor of being uncooperative and dismissive of appeals and interventions from various stakeholders. However, a Rivers State High Court sitting in Oyibo local government area on Friday issued an interim injunction restraining the Speaker and 2 others, including the Clerk of the House, from sending any correspondence to the Chief Judge concerning the impeachment. Economic experts have endorsed the International Monetary Fund warning on Nigeria's reform agenda, urging the federal government to sustain ongoing economic reforms and avoid policy reversals, especially as political pressures mount ahead of the election cycle. They caution that any reversal of reforms could erode recent gains in inflation moderation, weaken investor confidence, and further strain an economy that remains vulnerable due to limited fiscal buffers. Speaking during a panel session at the Nigeria Economic Summit Group NESG 2026 Macroeconomic Outlook event in Lagos, the IMF country representative for Nigeria, Dr. Christine Ebeke, warned against complacency, stressing that Nigeria's reform journey was far from complete. Ebeke acknowledged that progress had been recorded but noted that inflation remains in double digits, limiting the government's policy flexibility and underscoring the need for sustained discipline. He identified complacency, particularly at the subnational levels, as one of the most immediate risks to macroeconomic stability, pointing out that state governments now enjoy improved fiscal space following recent reforms. According to him, the temptation for pro-cyclical spending by state governments, especially in the run-up to elections, could undermine the gains achieved so far. The misinterpretation of recent tax reforms in Nigeria is increasingly being linked to price instability across the country. Misinformation surrounding these reforms has prompted many businesses to raise prices arbitrarily, often under the guise of new tax obligations. Speaking to Lagos residents, many expressed concerns over the situation and urged the government to be truthful and transparent in its communication. Here's the report.
Nigeria's tax reform framework, including the value-added tax regime and the introduction of new service levies, particularly in the telecommunications sector, has created anxiety among business owners and consumers. While the direct impact of some of these taxes may be limited, uncertainty surrounding their scope has fueled fear-driven price increases across the country. Some service providers are exploiting the transition period, taking advantage of gaps in public understanding to justify sudden price hikes. Many businesses now attribute increased costs to new tax obligation, even on goods and services that are not directly affected by the reforms. These has caused widespread confusion and panic among citizens, as higher operating costs are passed on to consumers through increased prices. Some Lagos residents attributed the widespread misinterpretation of the tax reform to the government's failure to adequately educate the public.
Okay, first of all, it's a new law. It's not that it's a new law, but it's just that an amended law. In that there have been an avalanche of tax laws in the past, but now this one has now made some additions to it. Now the problem is that the interpretation for every law, it takes time for better and real and grounded interpretation to be made. Of course, this new tax law has not been tested in court, and that is why you see various interpretations here and there.
The society has its own way of behaving, because if you say misinterpretation, once there is a tax burden, obviously individuals in businesses would like to increase whatever thing, even without having a kind of measurable items into those particular products. But the issue once again is we have to understand, apart from imposition of heavy tax burden, has the government done enough at least to cushion the effect of the burden on the individual? That's the thing. Even banks actually take the same thing. The other day I transferred a little sum of money, all of a sudden they deducted 2,000 in imposing such reductions on individuals. But even when you look at payment of tax in this nation, in this country, we discover that there is no effect at all. What are the things that you can show for as far as tax deduction is involved or evidence in it? Nothing.
So I think basically what we should do, or what the public can do, is to get awareness on it. So we should educate people on what the tax is all about. So those experts on tax, either the auditors or tax experts, or even the legal practitioner too, should educate people on what the tax is all about.
What I would say about the tax reform, I believe that the tax consistent, because every citizen is supposed to pay tax. But as in Nigeria, because of the bad economy of the country, government needs to bring a little bit down on the tax reform. But we know that it's a proper thing to do for a citizen to pay the tax. But how they are doing it now, for me, I think government, they have not implement the tax yet. For citizens, people are just using the opportunity for now to draw money from people's hands and make their own money.
Lagos residents are now calling on the government to take decisive steps to clearly communicate the scope and impact of the tax reforms, while also enforcing regulations to prevent businesses from exploiting citizens under the cover of misinformation.
Troops of the 6th Brigade of the Nigerian Army have rescued 2 kidnapped victims and foiled kidnapping and robbery attempts along the Wukari-Ikio Road in Wukari local government area of Taraba State. The victims, identified as Teso Keso and Udongu Tebo, were rescued unconscious in the bush and taken to the Federal University Teaching Hospital, Wukari, for medical attention. This was disclosed in a statement issued on Saturday and signed by Lieutenant Umar Muhammad, Acting Assistant Director, Army Public Relations at 6th Brigade, Jalungu. According to the statement, the troops acted swiftly after receiving a distress call that criminals had blocked the road and were attacking civilians. Commending the soldiers for the gallantry, the Commander 6th Brigade Nigerian Army Sector 3 Operation Wildstroke, Brigadier General Kingsley Chidebere Uwa, praised their professionalism and vigilance. He noted that the timely intervention of the troops prevented possible loss of lives and reaffirmed the Nigerian Army's commitment to sustaining proactive security operations across the area. Gunmen have killed a police officer and abducted a Chinese expatriate, the principal of Aqua Triton Company, during an attack in the Ogunmakin area of Ibadan, Oyo State. The Oyo State Police Public Relations Officer, SP Adewale Oshifeso, confirmed the incident in a statement on Saturday. According to the police, the assailants stormed the facility in a commando-style operation. One police officer was killed while repelling the attack, though some of the gunmen were reportedly injured. The Chinese expatriate was taken away by the attackers. The Commissioner of Police, CP Femi Haruna, has directed the Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of operations to lead anti-kidnapping and tactical teams to the area. Police say a bushcombing operation is ongoing while investigations continue to ensure the rescue of the abducted expatriate and the arrest of those responsible. The Arewa Consultative Forum, ACF, Northern Elders Forum, NEF, Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation, Arewa House, the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MACBAN, and other northern groups have expressed concern over what they describe as a steady decline on leadership quality and governance standards in northern Nigeria. The groups made their position known while reflecting on the legacy of Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Sardauna of Sokoto, 60 years after his assassination, as well as the current leadership and governance challenges confronting the region and the nation at large. Trust TV's Bello Musa brings in the report.
The meeting was convened by a coalition of northern organizations, including the Arewa Consultative Forum, Northern Elders Forum, Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation, Arewa House Center for Democratic Development Research and Training, ARDP, Arewa Defense League, and the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, among others. Reading the briefing on behalf of the coalition, ACF Board Chairman Bashir Al-Hatu recalled that it has been exactly 60 years since Sir Ahmadu Bello Sardauna Sokoto and some of his colleagues were murdered by rough elements of the Nigerian military.
People of the North have a special place in their hearts for the Sardauna and his colleagues who made the supreme sacrifice 60 years ago. Indeed, their roles in preparing our northern region for self-government and ultimately independence, and the remarkable growth of our region and its unity under very trying circumstances have been captured by history. It's a vital lesson in the study of committed and visionary leadership.
The northern leaders highlighted the Sardauna's enduring legacies, including the establishment of Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria and significant investment in education, healthcare, and infrastructure. They contrasted this achievement with contemporary challenges, citing worsening poverty, youth disenfranchisement, and a generation of Almajiri with limited opportunities to contribute productively to society.
The Sardauna and his colleagues sound like tales to millions of northern Nigerians today, largely because the North looks back in vain for their successes and the sustenance of their incredible records. Our young today only hear of excellent schools and hospitals that were built from public funds and millions of them are migrants with very little opportunity to be productive adults.
As the northern groups commemorate 60 years since the Sardauna's assassination, they urge a revival of visionary leadership and governance to address the region's growing socio-economic challenges. Bello Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
This is the news update on Trust TV, coming up after the break. Nigeria, Netherlands boost trade and investment. More news when we return. Do stay with us.
Dr. Ladi Kwali is a national icon. Her image appears on Nigeria's currency. Her name adorns institutions and public spaces.
She didn't have to go to Harvard to go and learn some kind of different culture, but she's somebody who this country should not joke with.
In 2022, the Ladi Kwali Poultry Center in Suleja was renovated to revitalize its operations, aiming to create jobs, boost tourism, and honor her legacy. Today, those promises remain largely unfulfilled.
The poultry center is not functional. The place is not functional. We had the aim that this place was going to be a place of immortalization for Ladi Kwali. Many a times when people come to this place, they are disappointed because the name they hear Ladi Kwali outside, when they come, what they expect, they don't see it.
Yes, she was given all the titles, and all this national recognition. But then, it's really unfortunate that if you want to see what she really made, that you have to travel outside the country.
Over the years, her identity has been blurred by conflicting accounts. Some say she was baggy, others insist she was batty. What is different? Was she truly from Suleja or from Kwali?
Mark your calendar this January for the 23rd Daily Trust Dialogue. Theme: Nigeria's Fourth Republic. What is working and what is not? Under the distinguished chairmanship of His Excellency Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki, CON, former President of the Nigerian Senate. Special guest of honor, His Royal Majesty Oba Rashidi Adeolu Ladoja, the Olubadan of Ibadan. Guest speakers, His Excellency Malam Nasser El-Rufai, former Governor of Kaduna State. Honorable Sunday Dari, former Minister of Youth and Sports and Special Advisor to the President on Public Communications. Honorable Nenna Elendu Ukeje, former Member, House of Representatives, Youth and Gender Advocate. Date, 22nd January 2026. Time, 10 a.m. Venue, NAF Conference Center, Kado Expressway, Abuja. It is about power, politics, and the people. You can watch it online, on air, and across all Media Trust platforms. Don't miss out. Attendance is free.
You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the news update on Trust TV. Now let's take a look at some of our top stories. Fubara dismisses impeachment threat, calls it political sabotage. Gunmen kill policeman, kidnap Chinese expert in oil. Now moving to other stories. Nigeria and the Kingdom of Netherlands have strengthened bilateral relations to boost cooperation in key sectors, including trade and investment, energy transition, agriculture, and water management for the mutual benefit of both countries. This was disclosed in a statement issued by the spokesman of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimebe Ebenfa, following a meeting between the Permanent Secretary of Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Dunoma Umar Ahmad, and the Sahel Envoy of the Kingdom of Netherlands, Robert Zimmerman, alongside members of his delegation in Abuja. The dialogue focused on deepening bilateral cooperation and addressing shared regional and global challenges. Discussions highlighted the long-standing Nigeria-Netherlands relationship, which dates back to the 1960s, and explored additional priority areas including youth empowerment, migration governance, maritime security in the Gulf of Guinea, counter-terrorism, and multilateral cooperations. Both parties reaffirmed their commitment to a partnership anchored on mutual respect, equality, and shared values, with emphasis on tackling the root cause of insecurity, promoting sustainable development, and strengthening people-to-people relations. The engagement also underscored the importance of cultural diplomacy, knowledge exchange, and private sector collaboration in driving inclusive governance and growth. And now in business. The equities market of the Nigerian Exchange Limited reversed its recent gains, ending a 9-day winning streak as market capitalization fell by 458 billion naira. The decline followed investors' profit taking in major stocks, including MTN Nigeria Communications PLC, which dropped by 4.1%, Aradel Holdings PLC down 5.1%, and Nigerian Breweries PLC, which dipped by 2.3% on sectoral performance. The NGX Banking Index rose by 0.8%, while the Consumer Goods Index gained 0.3%. In contrast, the Oil and Gas Index declined by 2.2%. The Insurance Index fell by 0.2%, and the Industrial Goods Index closed flat. Market breadth was negative, with 41 losers against 36 gainers. And away from Nigeria, Egypt and Sudan have welcomed a United States offer to revive talks with Ethiopia over the long-running Nile River water dispute. U.S. President Donald Trump said Washington is ready to resume mediation to resolve Nile water sharing issues once and for all, after negotiations collapsed in 2020. Ethiopia inaugurated the $5 billion Grand Ethiopia Renaissance Dam GERD in September. The project, Africa's largest hydroelectric dam, is expected to double Ethiopia's electricity generation. However, Egypt warns that the dam could significantly reduce the flow of the Nile, threatening its agriculture and water security. Sudan has also raised concerns, seeking assurances that the filling of the dam's reservoir will not negatively affect its own dams. Finally, sports. The local organizing committee for the forthcoming 15th Biennial Police Games Bipoga 2026 in Asaba Delta State has reaffirmed its commitment to delivering a safe, orderly, and successful sporting festival. The committee made the pledge during a 2-day strategic conference held at the weekend in Asaba, alongside an inspection of sporting facilities designated for the Games. Scheduled to take place from February the 7th to 14th, 2026, the conference and inspection exercise were led by the chairman of the Force Sports Planning Committee, Assistant Inspector General of Police, Pam Joseph, and were aimed at fine-tuning operational plans, logistics, and coordination ahead of the Games. The LOC assured participating teams and members of the public that the preparations are progressing steadily and that all necessary measures are being put in place to ensure a hitch-free sporting event. And with that, we come to the end of the news update on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel for a constant live stream of programs and documentaries. My name is Hawa Gambo, saying thank you for joining us and see you next time.